Last time on Internet Bloodsports Z, some gay shit happened, and some people internet slap fighting. I don't know. I haven't watched the last several episodes. I haven't even caught up on the arc or the saga. Like, I have no idea what's going on now. D is a king now. Christian is being referred to by pronouns. Dick Masterson as a Sonic Shoe Medallion. Nick Raquel. Review Tech USA has finally imploded. It has been seeing the developments, online, super plugged into it like I am, super plugged into it, and big news that I really want to weigh in on is Kiwifarms Null versus Mr. Metokur, Daddy, King of Gamer, Gatorade Aristocrat, that guy. Went off on him a while back, and I don't think Jim himself has responded, but because Null's own moderators have turned the entirety of this blood sports. No, you can't criticize Jim. He's our god. He's the creator of. He is always right in every situation. He's like the super of internet blood sports. He's not allowed to take the L in any situation. Right? I have never seen the community acknowledge when Jim takes an L. And there are lots of it, but I've been very critical of Jim for the past decade. Gamer opening up the page, getting on all the internet blood sports, and it legitimized the biggest grifters from the 8 days. Ethan Ralph, has done a lot of things that but the thing that really gets me is that in 2024, what has Jim done in any way, shape, or form that's relevant or interesting? He did that Nick Raquel, but that was all stuff that better people, myself, extensively over the past several years, right? He things, but what happens typically is that he covers it way after everyone else, and he gets something like live. Oh, Jim, it's so good to see you're still with us, that you're still making content. You're still let me throw money at you for existing. It doesn't matter about the quality of the show or talk about or what he's about or what he does. Just throw money at Metokur simply for being Metokur. And I have myself very open about this. A quality of Jim's content has gone wrong. He's very much kind of in that Spoonie or AVGN spiral where he's still putting out content, but it's just not as good as it used to be. There's not as much of it anymore. It's not funny or anything, but people are tuning in every single time out of nostalgia. They're just blindly following along with what Jim says, and then they're believing it. Ship. And there are, of course, situations in which I do agree that him going after him is a really good example of this. But again, that long after when I was turned on it. Was he in the early days when I was bringing up Rekida's lack of credential during Weeb Wars, right? Before the Big case was even over. Where was bringing that? No, he was on. He was enabling. Talking about War 40K and just avoiding about the elephant in the room. Why Nick up in the middle of the night drinking, talking about Warhammer, instead of being for his family, right? Why were the hard questions never asked? Why did it take so long for him to come out and say, "Oh, this Nick Rakita guy, he's kind of bad"? Too late, in my opinion. And Null did a lot of the same things, honestly. I'm not like giving Null like a break here, because I don't like Null either. But like when it comes to the Metokur thing, I do think Metokur has a bigger cult of personality than even Ricada does, right? Like even Ricada did. I'm sorry, like the cult is kind of imploded, but like Metokur has a very loyal fan base that will religiously defend everything he does, right? Who will pretend the content hasn't gone downhill, who will hang on to his every word and will just kind of ignore other personalities in the sphere or even like downplay them. Again, like Null has been like consistently coming on talking about Ricada for a long time. Not as long as he should have, but he's been doing it longer than Jim, and yet like Jim does his little show thing, and he gets significantly more support and interest. Like, oh, Metokur really owned Nick here by talking about the same things that everyone else is talking about. Like, again, the information was not well presented. It was not like the story was not well told. It was too late, right? And yet it was worshipped because it was Metokur, right? So to me, like I do think there's this very real conversation to be had about the current state of Metokur, right? The current state of like what he's doing, the quality of his streams, the what he's talking about, what he's choosing to cover, right? The fact that he's streaming instead of doing edited videos, I think is a big deal for me personally. I do think there's a lot of things that Jim is doing that should be called into question, right? Again, I don't think I never have thought that Jim is a flawless human being who is like absolved of all criticism, right? But there are a lot of people in the community who think he is, and that is the real reason why Null is getting so much backlash for acknowledging how Metokur is treated among his own staff, right? Again, I hate to side with Null on anything, but I do think it needs to be pointed out that the blind worship of Mr. Metokur is dangerous. It is delusional. You are putting your faith in a blind idol. Like, you are putting blind faith in an idol to tell you how it is every single time without really critically thinking about the situation or really even knowing anything about it at all, is my honest, genuine opinion on that. Like, I think a lot of people only watch Mr. Metokur content. I think they have no perspective as to like the wider range of what's going on in the sphere, of what's going on with Null or Kiwifarms or Ricada or anything else that's going on right now. Like, I think that much like Ricada himself, too many people make too much money off of Metokur content to really come out and criticize him in any way, shape, or form.